Hello everybody, it's Connie with SimplySimpleStamping.com. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to a Tuesday tip. Hey, it's that time. It is time to give your Stampin' Trimmer a tune-up. I've got some tips for you. If you've been maybe struggling with rough cardstock with your Stampin' Trimmer, or maybe that blade's just not sliding up and down the way it should, might just be time for a little tune-up. I've got several tips to share with you that I think you are gonna love, so let's get started. All right, let's start our tune-up, and we're gonna start with our blades. We're gonna get a little creative with these. First, I do want you to notice my little tip that on the light blade, I wrote with Sharpie marker score. On the darker blade, I wrote cut because I don't wanna accidentally cut if I meant to score. Now, you probably already know this, but you can actually push these blades all the way out of the way. You can do the same thing here. So it's not anywhere in the actual area that you're going to be working. But since I've got that blade down here, let's say it's time to replace the blade. I'm going to tell you how to do that. I'm going to show you. Can you see this little notch? We have a little notch right here. If you need to replace the blade, you're going to slide it right into that little notch, get underneath it, and that pops right off. Just make sure you're lined up in that notch. There we go. Now you can see this one, look, there's a little gunk in there. I could use a little cleaning. Make sure we get all that out of there. Now I can go ahead and do the same thing here with my scoring blade. Now let me set these off to the side. I don't want to lose them, but I don't want them in my way while I give myself a tune-up. Okay, if you want to get this track out of your way when you clean, you can do that too. You can simply grab an end, pull, and you can see, get this end, and it'll just pop right out. So let's go ahead and remove that, again, just so we can work. All right, now we're gonna talk about this track. I think you can see I was due for a tune-up. That's a lot of gunk down in there. So I'm going to clean that out, and I'm gonna use my paper piercer. And I'm just gonna kind of run. Can you see? There's like little fuzzies of paper and dust and all kinds of things in there. So we want to kind of get that out. You notice I'm not pushing hard. I don't want to cut into the track, but we do want to kind of loosen that up. Now I want to point this out too. This is removable. So you could even do this out of the way of your Stampin' Trimmer. But look at this. If I flip it over, there's a groove there on the other side as well. So if you didn't have time to do a full tune-up, you could just switch it over. But hey, I'm doing a tune-up. We're going to clean both sides. I'm going to use an alcohol swab. If you guys have followed me for a while, you know I love to work with these because they're just quick and easy. They're easy to keep here in my stamp room. I'm going to run that along the groove or around the top of the mat. And then, ooh, can you see? It's like pulling out glitter and all kinds of stuff. I'm now going to slide that alcohol swab with my paper piercer down inside. Look at that. Can you see the gunk it's kind of pulling up? I'm going to move it around. We'll do that again. So basically, clean up both sides of your mat until they are clean. While I've got that out, I'm going to put that alcohol swab right down inside this track without the mat. And you see I'm using the end here of my paper piercer. And we'll go ahead and give that a little clean as well. All right, guys, look at that squeaky clean mat. It's so happy. We can put that back in. I'm going to take another alcohol swab. And while I'm here, I'm going to clean my mat. I get little bits of adhesive. I can see there's some right there. And that alcohol swab will just clean up any little goobers that have gotten on my Stampin' Trimmer. And I want you to see, not that I'm trying to be gross, but yeah, it needed a good cleaning. So yeah, we want to make sure everything's good and clean. Let's take this, we're going to run it inside this track as well. I'm just going to kind of wrap it around just like that. And let's clean up the bar that comes down. So we have our mat back in. Let's go ahead and put our bar back down. This part is all clean. Now it's time to work on that blade. You want to be very careful. That blade is sharp, but I'm just going to take one of those swabs that I had out and just clean up anything that may have gotten on there. Now what I want to do is I'm going to pop both these blades back in. Hey, while I'm at it, we might as well clean up this scoring one. But we're going to go ahead and put both these back on. And to do that, put it down in that groove, pop it in. Do you know what I love about this? They don't fall out. Unlike other trimmers where these little blades can fall out, unless you got it down in that groove and popped it off, it's not coming off. So let's do that. We'll go ahead and put our cutting blade back on. Now it's time to work on our cutting blade and kind of give it a little oil as we would for our car. And to do that, we're going to bring in wax paper. I'm going to tear off a piece of wax paper, and I need some paper to put on this because this is pretty flimsy. Guys, I'm going to tell you, my favorite thing is junk mail. Let's at least put it to use. I'm going to take some junk mail here. And the reason for that is a lot of times junk mail is actually a little heavier than copy paper. So, and it doesn't matter. It's something we would have thrown away anyway. So what I want to do is I'm going to put my wax paper here on the edge. It really doesn't matter. We're not trying to be neat or anything here. So I'm going to start running my cutting blade through that copy paper and through the wax paper here, but I'm kind of letting that wax paper kind of add a little lubricant to my blade. This is also getting down a little bit into that track. So what we might want to do to get it into the track would be to flip this around and cut again. That's pressing that wax paper down inside there. I'm going to go ahead and stop there because I'm actually going to come back to my wax paper in a minute. We're now going to sharpen that blade a little bit. I have got some foil here. I've just folded it in half. So what I want to do is just put my cutting blade in the middle and just kind of sharpen. I'm just going to go around the edges. What happens with the foil is sometimes, well, look, now it's going to cut, but do you see it kind of bunches up? It's not quite, it's just the nature of foil. It has nothing to do with my trimmer. But you can see I'm just kind of randomly cutting and sharpening that blade. All right, I think I'm good and shredded, and I'm good to now come back in with my wax paper. And now I just want to kind of just wax up that blade one more time after I came at it with the foil. So just a couple more times here with the wax paper. There we go. Good. All right, let's talk about it. We've cleaned the track. We've cleaned our board. We've removed any adhesive that was floating around. We've cleaned our blades. We've sharpened and waxed our blades. Let's bring in some cardstock and see how we did. We'll take our scoring blade, move it out of the way. We're going to take our cutting blade, put it all the way at the bottom. And here we go. Cut. Look at that. A nice edge. Oh my goodness. No fuzzies, no rough edges. Let's try it with some white cardstock. Oh yeah, isn't that what we want? Look at that. Very nice, smooth edge. Now, what to do if you still have a rough edge? Well, guys, that probably means it is time to replace this blade. Remember, it is a blade like any other razor. It's not going to last forever. I always like to keep extra trimming blades right here. I don't know if you knew this. There's a secret compartment underneath your Stampin' Trimmer. Right underneath here, I always keep extra blades. We'll pop the new one in. We'll come in with a Sharpie. We'll write cut. But what to do with this blade? I'm going to take that little cover that I just took off. I'm going to use that to kind of protect as I work. I'm going to take another alcohol swab. Told you I love these. Look at that. It kind of removes that Sharpie, most of it anyway. And now I'm going to mark this one as glimmer. I'm going to use that one now on glimmer paper because, guys, when you cut through glimmer paper, it can really dull the blade. I'll pop that cover back off. I'm going to keep this here in my Stampin' Trimmer because as I work, it's out of my way. But if I'm cutting glimmer paper, I can slide that one. I can come in and cut glimmer paper and I don't have to worry about dulling my good blade, if you will. And this one is going to cut through glimmer great. There we go. My Stampin' Trimmer is a fine-tuned machine. It is ready to give me months and months of happiness. But You know, just like our cars, our Stampin' Trimmer sometimes needs a little tune-up as well. Little oil to make it run smoothly. So that wax paper is a wonderful little tip. Little bit of foil to maybe help sharpen up the blade. And then some other tips as well. I hope you found those helpful today. Guys, thank you so much for subscribing. If you haven't already, you can do it now. Just click that big red subscribe button. You'll get lots more crafting tips here every Tuesday. And then there's lots of other videos throughout the week as well. So be sure to click subscribe. Guys, thanks so much for being here, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.